All right. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Caitlin. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to let some people join us. But I'm thrilled to be sitting down today with our chief publicist of DSP, Nick Wale.
Well, I'm thrilled to be sitting down with you, Caitlin. It'll be a fantastic opportunity to converse with people and to tell people about the things we're doing over at DSP.
Excellent. And I'm so excited for everyone to, get a look inside of what we do every day and to be able to ask you some questions. And I'm also going to open it up if anybody watching has any questions for Nick, please. We like to put him in the hot seat, drop a comment, we'll ask him anything you want. It's all up for grabs.
Well, that's right. Anything you want to ask, it's fine with me.
All right. So I have to admit, I was expecting to see a library of books behind you, but I don't. I see tons of records. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Are you a collector?
Well, I am, I suppose. I have been my whole life. I've always been fascinated with records as a product. I've always been fascinated with the product process, the creation of product, and a lot of the processes we use to sell books actually derive from the record business. We use a lot of the same ideas and concepts. So for me, learning from the records is a good way of transmitting that to the books. Um, but I have been my whole life. I've collected records.
That's great. So, how did you end up starting your own publishing company?
Well, it was a multitude of steps, really. It really started. I was working as a publicist for self-published authors, and we had a number of successes. And one day, a Western author came to me and he says, "Could you sell a Western?" And I said, "Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so, but I don't know if it would how it would go." And he says, "Well, you've done so well with the thrillers and the different kinds of books you're working on, a big romance book at that time." He said, "Would you give it a try?" I said, "I will, but I can't guarantee anything." Of course, you can't guarantee anything anyway, but I couldn't really tell him what would happen with the Western. We put the Western out. It did very well. We thought it might be a fluke, so we put another Western out. It did very well. So he says, "Well, look, I have a lot of friends, and none of them are selling any books. So, would you like to talk to them?" I said, "Sure." Well, the next day my inbox was filled up. I had a lot of Western authors, and they wanted me to work with them, do the same thing I'd done for that very first author. So I ended up with a stable of Western authors, and there were a series of steps that went through. There were other Western publishing companies and different things that were going on until the opportunity came up to start a company of our, of their own. Bruce Bennett came to me and he said that he would like to start a publishing company to house his own westerns, and I said, "Well, instead of starting just a company for your own westerns, why don't you start a company and we can publish all kinds of westerns and be competitive on the market?" And he said, "I like that idea, I really do." So DSP was started. We started off with a series of authors I'd worked with my whole life, almost my whole life, I guess, at that point. And we ended up with a stable of authors and growing company, and we just kept adding authors to it as we met them. And that's really how it started. It was very much a thing that started very small and grew to be quite big.
Absolutely. And are those guys that you spoke about who came to you first, are they still with you today? Are they still your authors?
Well, I'll tell you this: in the Western business, the only way we usually lose authors is if they sadly pass, and we've had a few of them sadly pass, especially this last year. But they're all there. The same guys I've worked with my whole career are still there, with a lot of new people we've recently met.
And that speaks volumes. When you have people that are with you from the very beginning, I think it just goes to show, what type of businessman you are and that trust factor that, everybody looks for. So I think it's wonderful.
Well, the trust factor is very important, I think, and I do believe that we have a very close communication, close relationship, and a very strong communication level with our authors, and that's one of the things that's made us a success. The more that we have grown, the stronger our communication has become, and that's really something that we should be very proud of, both as a company and as an author base.
So would you say that that's your favorite part of the Western book business?
Well, I love the authors, and I've always loved working with the authors, but the product is my favorite part of the process. I love the different kinds of product we have to work with. I love discussing the product with the authors. I love the whole process of putting product onto the market. Product is what we sell. It's what pleases our readers, and it's also what our authors work the hardest on. So product is king. The high communication level and the way that we communicate is also something I really enjoy. I really like that DSP is such an open company in that regard, and I think that we have, and having strong relations with our authors has also been something I'm very proud of. But the product really excites me.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you brought that up because I've been dying to ask you with the growing popularity of, different Western films, shows, especially like Yellowstone and this new 1883. Everybody's talking about these things and it's just becoming more and more popular. Do you see that same demand and popularity in the book business? The demand for more Western fiction books that kind of follows the movies.
Well, absolutely. I would say that anybody who's interested in a show such as Yellowstone or 1883 would be interested in a Western novel. I think that the readership views those shows. I think new readers discover the Western through those shows. I think that it stands to common sense that people who would enjoy watching Yellowstone, although Yellowstone is a modern Western, would be interested in the kind of Western fiction that we're publishing. So I absolutely agree with that. I think that the more Western themed television series and the more movies that are made, the better things become for the Western genre, and the more people are educated about the Western genre. Absolutely. And I would say that that demand will continue to grow as long as we are doing the job and putting good product out for readers to read, and we are keen to listen to the readers and give the readers the kind of stories they're interested in reading.
So, do you see a lot of your authors coming to you with those newer, modern Western stories to publish?
Absolutely. We had a new one from Mike McCasey just recently, a modern Western. We're seeing that more and more often. There is a huge market for the traditional Western material we've published. Mountain Men stories, for instance, have been very, very, very good for us. We've also had a huge amount of success with Gunfighter series, Bounty Hunters, and the rest of it. But modern Westerns have absolutely become a niche that people are interested in reading. Absolutely, Caitlin.
Absolutely. I love watching it. I love reading it. And that's not something that I did years ago. So I'm part of that, growing popularity, watching Yellowstone, 1883, picking up the books. And that's not just because I work for the company. I mean, I work mainly on Magnolia Blossom, our romance imprint. So, it just goes to show how the demand is right now. While we're on the topic, I'm going to go over to a comment that we have from Leroy. He asked, "Have any books been turned into a film or been offered to be into a film?"
We tend not to work on optioning of films. We leave that to the author. We have had some that the author has negotiated with or financed themselves movies, but we tend not to get involved in that. That's a bit of a it's a bit of a process that we find that we don't have time to get involved in.
Okay, thank you for the question, Leroy.
Thank you, Leroy. It's good to see you there.
So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and start picking your brain about, starting your own company, running a business. So what do you think, in your opinion, is the key to success?
I think the most important thing is having sticking power, having a long term goal in mind, and making sure that you're not looking to be a one hit wonder. I think writing with a series in mind is a huge thing in our business, and having that series and sticking with that series and creating a long-term series that readers will keep coming back to. Longevity and a longevity of mind is the number one key to success. When you find something that works, don't cast it aside. Keep writing. Keep entertaining readers. Give readers what they want. And I think that that has been the cornerstone of Western success or success in any other business is do not change a formula that's working. And
Absolutely.
I think that the authors who continue on that path of they find what readers want and they work towards what readers want are the ones that have long-term success. Mr. Winkle, for instance, Mr. McCasey, all of them continue to work on a series as long as the readers are interested, and it's just proven to be hugely successful. 6 or 7 or 8 books in the top 10. when you are very solid with the readers and you give the readers what they would like to read, the readers will be solid with you and will continue to keep coming back as long as they feel that the series is entertaining to them.
And they love series.
They
I
love
noticed
series.
that just if you have a character that works, that people respond to, you can just, there's so many different ways that you could just keep building upon that. So many different adventures that they can be put through, different characters they meet, places they go. And I love that. I see that in the DSP authors, how they, they'll take one story and just develop it so much. It's really wonderful to see.
Charles Ray is a prime example of that. Charles Ray has written many different series, but he always continues to keep going with it. He might write something new, but he continues to always give the readers the series that they are most interested in, and he puts them out. Jack Bonham, J.J. Bonham, another one that has that longevity. It's it's the same. It's a series. It continues to keep rolling, and they don't deviate from the formula. They just don't.
And they have loyal readers, which
Very
just
loyal.
goes to show that it works.
Oh, I agree with you completely. They are very loyal. We first discovered this with Robert Hanlon, one of our early authors. Bob, he had the Timber series. The first one came out, the second one came out, very successful. Then he decided to write a new series. Didn't go anywhere. He says, "What's happening?" I said, "Do another Timber. Let's see what happens." Well, we did another Timber, and back into the top 10 he went. And it's just the same. You always have to let the readers lead the dance. And if they lead the dance, you will never go wrong. They tell you what they want. They will tell you straight away what they want. You just have to listen, listen.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to ask you a little more personal question here.
Okay.
Who or what has been your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration has always been one, ethos. And that ethos has always been that we are here to entertain readers. And I'm always inspired by our readers. I know our readers are reading the product every single day of the year, be it Easter, Christmas, or any other day of the year. And our readers should always be our inspiration, and we should always be inspired by our readers and be looking to please them as much as we can. So I've always been inspired by readers. When I hear readers are reading a certain book, it's the most inspirational thing you could ever come across. Absolutely, Caitlin. I'm sure you know the same over at Magnolia. When you hear from readers, it's a mind blowing experience.
Absolutely. It's a really great feeling. And since you bring that up, do you think we can do something within this next year to connect more to our readers?
I would love that. I would love to set a series of seminars where we can connect with readers and readers can connect with us and they can tell us directly what they would like to see. I would love to hear from readers with story ideas or plots or ideas that things they'd like to see in our books. And I think that that's in the publishing business, there is such a cutoff between the publishing companies and the readers and even the authors in the publishing company. That closer communication is our strength. And I think that the more we know what readers would like and what they expect from us, the better we can fulfill those wishes. At the end of the day, it always comes down to pleasing the readers. And the more we know about what the readers would like, the better we can become as a company and as an author base.
I love it. So can I hold you to that as one of your employees, that in
You
the
certainly can.
2022 we will be looking to hear from our readers across all of our imprints, DSP, Magnolia Blossom, our horror imprint, Raventail. I'm looking forward to this.
I think so. I think 2022 will be the year of meeting readers, and the more readers who would like to meet with us and tell us what they think about our product, what they think about the books we're doing, what they would like to see, the happier I will be. I really do think. When I first started in the book business, it was very unusual to have publishing companies and authors in close communication working as a partnership. There were agents in the middle, all kinds of cutoffs. And we took out that process and we have very close relations with our authors. Our authors are long-term friends. If we could do the same thing with our readers, we could have the most beautiful symbiotic relationship in existence. I truly believe that, and I believe that we can achieve that. Absolutely.
Good. I believe it too. I can attest to that just working here, because we're always reachable and we're very communicative. We respond to everybody, whether it be an author, a potential author, readers, everyone. Our social media, the department is just absolutely wonderful. Anybody can reach us via Facebook, Instagram, any different platform, ask us a question, send us an email on one of our websites, and somebody is always getting back to you. So I think it's really great, and I look forward to seeing what we can do to connect more and see what our readers are looking for.
Well, Caitlin, that was done by design. We never wanted to be a company. The company never wanted to be a company. There never had to be. There never was a plan other than to be as close as we possibly can to our readers and to our authors, to make sure everybody benefits from the relationship, and to make sure that the books get in front of the readers, that the authors can communicate with us, that the readers can communicate with us. That was a most important cornerstone.
Awesome. Well, I think that's fantastic. And I'm going to ask you another personal question, just because I have you in the hot seat, so I'm not going to let
Go ahead.
If you could sit down and talk business with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, I've already achieved that. One of my great friends is a gentleman called Fred Goldberg, and he was an extremely successful advertising agent for some of the major companies and brands in America. And I have to say that I have picked his brain clean, and I have discussed every element of business with him. And I found that if you need to know anything about business, then you should always go to people who know. So I have a go-to team. Fred Goldberg, Bill Joyner's another one. I always go and pick Bill Joyner's brains. I have a go-to team, and I always go to my go-tos. I don't need to time travel. I just need to write an email and ask the questions. So I'm very lucky in that regard, because I've never found myself without inspiration. I always go to people who've done it. I mean, we have some very, very successful professionals at DSP who write Westerns. Why not pick on the people who are working with me already to give me the answer to the questions I need to know which benefit them?
Why not? And I guess I'm lucky as well, because I have had the pleasure to meet, I think, everybody that you just mentioned.
I would say, well, absolutely. One of my favorite ones is Gene Turney. I'll go and pick his brains every time I can get him. I say to Kathy, get me a call with Gene Turney. She says, what's the problem? I say, well, I just want the inspiration.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to be joining on more of these calls.
Oh, you should come along. We have a lot of fun.
All right. So this has been great. I'm going to wrap it up here to put you on the spot once again. What is your goal for the coming new year for your company?
For the coming year, I would like to see us continue to build on the great success we've had of 2021. Our theme for 2021 was "Let us continue." Next year, I would like to continuing. I'd like to continue to keep building our relationships with readers. I'd like to continue building our relationships with authors. I'd like to find new talent. I would like to meet more readers. I would like to reach more people. I would like to do more social media interaction between our authors and our readers. I'd like to do more of those virtual signings, which you did beautifully, by the way, Caitlin. I really enjoyed that. I would like to just continue to keep doing more and more, and reaching more people and helping more people and communicating with more people. I truly believe that there's so much more we can do. And this year was a starting block. Next year, we can really get off to the races and really make a great go of it. And I would like to express, while I've got everybody here, I'd like to express how thankful I am to work with everybody at DSP, and to have the relationship I have with our authors and our readers and our editors and everybody else. And I would also like to take the opportunity to wish everybody happy holidays as well.
Absolutely.
And I hope it's been a wonderful, incredible year. And I really have to thank you, Caitlin, for taking the time to interview me today. It's been a wonderful thing.
Thank you for sitting here and letting me put you in the hot seat and, talk about all these exciting things that we have coming up. And I think it's great. I'm looking forward to the virtual signings. I'm looking forward to being here helping anyway. I normally work on Magnolia Blossom, but I have been so incredibly lucky to be brought on to work on things at DSP, meet all the wonderful authors, as well as Raventail. So it's been great.
Well, we're incredibly lucky to have you working with us, Caitlin, and we're also lucky to have Kathy and everybody else who works there. We wouldn't be the same without it. And I think we're incredibly lucky and should be incredibly grateful to work in the business we work in. And I can't express enough how satisfying it is to look at what we're doing to help readers, to help authors, and to work with wonderful people such as yourself and every author we have, and our editors, of course, and to build such a company. And we have to also be very thankful to Bruce at the top there for allowing us to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, Nick, so much for sitting down. It's, it's an honor to work for you and to meet all these incredible people. I can't wait to see what we have coming in 2022. And if anybody has any questions that they want to ask, you can reach out to us, our website, Facebook, Instagram. We are happy to hear from anyone. All right.
Absolutely.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Bye bye.